Mindset secrets for body transformations when you're over the age of 50. In this video, I'm going to share with you 6 things that I share with my clients over a period of time to help them get some pretty incredible results, like gaining or losing 85 pounds, despite being a busy business owner, dealing with ill parents and trying to run a business and sell a business at the same time. Because here's the thing, when you're trying to lose weight, it goes over and above just understanding about diet and exercise. We need to kind of get behind the scenes and understand what's going on up here so that when we hit those obstacles, those barriers, those challenging times, that we've got some way of navigating our way through that. So these 6 things I'm going to be sharing with you are going to hopefully help you to be able to get off to a good start with your weight loss, be able to lose the weight, and more importantly, be able to stay within a healthy weight range long term. So let's dive into what these 6 things are in terms of mind success secrets to help you transform your body in sometimes record time. So let's kick off with secret number 1. And secret number 1 may come as a bit of a surprise to you, and it's one that I share with all my clients. When I tell them this, they really are shocked that I say it. And it's this: when you get started on your weight loss journey, keep it to yourself. And they're often surprised because they think I'm going to be saying tell their family, tell their friends, tell their work colleagues, so they can get all of this support around them and to sort of coax them along when things get difficult. But I think completely the opposite is true. I think when you tell people what you're doing in terms of weight loss, that suddenly everybody becomes a judge. They're criticizing and commenting on what you're eating, when you're eating, what you're eating, why you're eating that particular type of food, why you're doing that sort of exercise. And then there's a whole issue about you losing weight. It's okay. Maybe to begin with, you don't need to lose weight, and you'll often hear that from people who are maybe a little bit heavier than you, that don't want you to become lighter than them, because in the relationship over the years you've always been the heavy one out of the two of you. So some of that can go on, and it's more prevalent, I think, amongst women than what it is amongst men. And then when you start to lose the weight, people are then saying things like, don't lose any more weight because you're looking a bit ill. Or maybe when they see you out socializing, if you start eating a particular food that you ate when you were, let's say, not on track, then you get comments like, I thought you were trying to lose weight. So suddenly you are, I guess, answerable, or you might feel like you're answerable or on show or being watched by all these different people because you've told them you're losing weight. Whereas when you keep it to yourself, then you've only got yourself and maybe your coach to discuss things with, and you'll have way more fun when you keep it to yourself, because all of the energy that you would normally be wasting explaining things to people, you can keep that energy inside of you and use that for the journey ahead. So that's secret number 1. Keep your weight loss journey to yourself. And when the weight starts to come off, which inevitably it will, and people start asking, what are you doing? I just say to my clients, just say to them, oh, I'm just exercising a little bit more and just, watch what I'm eating a little bit more. How are you doing? Move the conversation on. Don't get into a big, long-winded conversation about what you're doing. Once you've hit your goal and you are the way you want to be, then by all means you can tell people. But until you hit that point, keep it to yourself. So the second secret is what I call the mental mindset shift. Now, this is a rather subtle thing that happens in your own head. And it normally comes at a quiet time. It's not like a massive fanfare or drum roll, or you suddenly wake up one morning and spring out of bed and say, that's it, I'm going to lose weight. It's often a quiet conversation that goes on in your head. But once you make that mental shift to decide to lose weight, then suddenly what you'll notice is you are making decisions. You're saying no thank you to certain things you'd have said yes to in the past. You may be taking that walk, whereas in the past, if the weather's a bit bad, you'd have gone, no, I'm not doing that. You'll find the sort of mental fortitude to get out there and take the walk. And you'll just have that sort of calm resoluteness about yourself that this is what you're going to do. Now, this mental shift can take some time. For some people, it can be weeks or months. I had one client, Helen. It took her 6 years, she told me, before she finally decided she was going to do something about it. And once she decided, in the space of 12 weeks, she was able to lose well over 20 pounds. So the signs to look for with a mental shift are, it's quiet in nature, it's subtle, but there's a resoluteness about yourself in terms of you saying to yourself, this is something I will do. And once you get into that frame of mind, without any intervention from maybe a coach reminding you, or a slimming club or a gym or whatever you might be using, If you can keep yourself in that bubble, you'll be amazed at how far you can go in a relatively short space of time. So the third secret is doing the basics in the first 6 weeks. What do I mean by that? Well, in the first 6 weeks of a weight loss program, often people will go hell for leather at it. They will completely overhaul their diet. They'll join the gym. They'll be out walking 10,000 steps a day, and they'll be trying to sort of keep themselves highly motivated as much as possible. And the problem with that is I think that people crash and burn. They just can't keep that level of momentum up long enough to see the results they want. So what I recommend my clients do is do the basics, but keep it really simple. So what do I mean by that? So for example, when it comes to the way you think, rather than trying to think about perfection, you're just thinking about trying to be a little bit better than what you were the day before. You're just trying to be a little bit more optimistic about the possibility of losing weight. You're not trying to wake up and say, double fist, I'm gonna absolutely crush this. Again, it's a calmness in your own head. The more calm you can stay, the more likely it is you're going to stay the distance for the weight loss journey and adopt some lifestyle changes that can be sustainable long term. When it comes to eating, maybe just pick one meal that you're going to work on to begin with. Maybe just work on your breakfast. You say, okay, I'm just going to eat a little bit more protein in the morning, and then when you go into week number 2, that might spill into your lunch, week number 3 into your evening meal, and before you know it, you're having 3 good meals a day where you're eating plenty of protein. You've cut back on maybe some of the starchy carbs, but you've done it incrementally over this first 6 weeks. And when it comes to exercise, again, you start off really easy. Maybe you just start by walking 2,000-3,000 steps a day, and by week number 6, maybe you're walking 5,000-6,000 steps a day. But everything's done on a small level, on an incremental level in that first 6 weeks. The first 6 weeks really is about not doing anything dramatically different from what you're doing right now, but doing things a little bit differently incrementally, so that at the end of 6 weeks, you've now put in place some really good habits so that you can move forwards into the next stage. And that next stage is week number 12. This is where self-belief kicks in. So you've had that first 6 weeks where you've done the basics. You've taken that first 6 weeks and you've improved upon it incrementally. So by the time you get to week 12, what you should now be experiencing is some real physical changes. You should be able to look in the mirror and see a definite drop in your weight. That's going to give you some encouragement that what you're doing is working and working well. You should see some increases in your energy levels, and you may even start to get some comments from people externally saying to you, wow, what are you doing? How are you losing weight? You seem more energetic. That should all be happening around about week 12 when you've built upon that first 6 weeks. For example, a lady called Val I worked with, she was able to take off 31 pounds in her first 12 weeks. Now that's not normal. That is an exceptional amount of weight to lose, but it just goes to show what can happen when you build on that initial 6 weeks we just spoke about, and then you add in another 6 weeks to get yourself to week 12 where your self-belief is really high. Now, it's important you get to this phase because of the next secret I'm about to share with you. This secret number 5, is arguably the toughest one for people to wrap their heads around. And this secret is about accepting the challenge. It's recognizing at around about week 18, assuming you've been going along really well, you've lost weight, you're feeling fitter, the clothes are fitting better. Around about week 18, there can be that little gremlin in the back of your mind, or things start to happen external to you that maybe you were navigating your way through quite easily before, but suddenly rear their ugly heads again. For example, I mentioned Gaynor earlier. She's running a business, trying to get a business ready for sale. Ill parents, daughter looking to get married, supporting her with that. Lots and lots of things going on. For a good chunk of time, she was able to implement little steps and not ignore those things, cope with them and deal with them. But around about week 18, these things can sort of like somehow seem to loom their heads again, larger. And you have to accept the fact that some of these things are not going to go away. So for example, Gaynor's business wasn't suddenly going to magically go away. Her parents being ill weren't suddenly just going to be dismissed from hospital, or discharged from hospital. So she had to accept the fact that that was her external reality, but then internally what she did was she made sure she was calm, measured, was planning as much as she could do. She was managing her own self-talk in her head so that she could accept what was going on externally and not allow the external factors to influence how she was feeling too much. Now, I'm not going to say she was perfect, and she would say if she was here with me right now, she wasn't perfect all the time. There were times when the challenge became a bit too overwhelming, and there were weeks where she didn't lose any weight. In fact, I can think of maybe a month or so where she lost no weight at all. But what she was doing was still her best, so she didn't slide all the way backwards. Am I saying she never gained weight during her losing 85 pounds? Of course she gained some weight during that period of time. But the key thing was she recognized, because we spoke about this, around about week 18, challenges are going to appear again, and you have to accept them. And once you accept them, then you're able to begin to navigate your way around them. And you learn some different mindset skills when you accept the challenge and you start to navigate your way around them. Okay, before I share the 6th secret with you, I want to just make you aware of my free online boost weight loss assessment, which you can do online today. There's a link below this video. Click on that, answer a few simple questions, take a few minutes to do, and you'll get back a personalized report with an action plan. So you can do that at the end of this video. Just click the link below this video and you can do that today. Okay, let's talk about this 6th and final body transformation secret that goes on up in your head. And it's what I call overcoming the challenge. And this occurs at around about week number 24. Now you may be thinking, well, hang on, Eric, surely I've overcome the challenge from week number 1 up to week number 23. Well, let me explain what I mean by overcoming the challenge at week number 24. So, assuming you've been doing well on your weight loss, you get to week number 24, depending on how much weight you needed to lose, you may have either got to your ideal weight at this point, in which case it's now about how do you maintain the weight you've achieved, the weight loss you've achieved. So that's going to require a different set of skills that were needed to get you to this point. So you have to work on that. Or maybe you needed to lose, let's say, 50 pounds, and maybe you're at the 30-pound weight loss mark right now, and you've still got 20 pounds to go. So what typically tends to happen at this point is, because you are lighter, fitter, maybe getting compliments from people, what can sometimes happen is you take your eye slightly off the ball, maybe a few extra calories creep in, maybe your exercise is not quite as good as what it was, and suddenly all of those external challenges I spoke about earlier suddenly seem to rear their head again. So if you are aware that this is going to come up at week 24, like it is with all my clients, because I tell them this, for example, Gaynor, she knew at week number 24 that the challenges of running her business, trying to sell her business, trying to help her daughter to get married, the planning, looking after her ill parents, while she was doing incredibly well to be losing the weight, there was a possibility that she may get a sense of overwhelm again. So she had to be prepared for that. And what that meant was not allowing those things to derail her like they had in the past. So again, working together, I gave her some additional coaching tools and some tips and some tricks to help her navigate through those things coming back into her life, although they'd never really gone away. But how did she sort of quieten down that voice at the back of her head so that she could move forward? And those are some of the things I work with my clients, is on helping them to overcome this challenge. But for you today, I'm just making you aware of the fact that at week 24, you're going to have to overcome the challenge. Now, you may be wondering, what do I do, Eric? I've got all this mindset stuff now. What do I do in terms of my diet? Well, my next video, if it's on screen, click on that, and that's going to give you the insights into the key dietary principles that are going to help you to be able to transform your body in record time. Now, if the video is not on screen, make sure you subscribe so that you can be notified when I release that video, giving the dietary insights into how you can transform your body over the age of 50. Until then, take very good care, and bye for now.